to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking a lot about Xbox rumors, claims, speculations, industry stuff. As the content comes out, throughout the days and weeks, maybe even hours, who knows? We'll talk about it as well. If you guys don't know what I do here, we cover news stories, watch videos, give you our thoughts and opinions. We get your thoughts and opinions as well in chat. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me see who's all here. Let me scroll up. What's going on, Altern, Eclipse? Michelle, what's going on? Jason, Sarge, Jack Garland, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying right now. Michelle says, 30. I recently bought a little pale girl from Terrifier 2 on my daughter for Christmas, and it reminded me of the arcade-style art of the clown game that they released. Am I wrong for wanting a GTA-style game? No, I don't think you're wrong. Altern says, Helldivers just released an update. People has to be mad. There's a video I actually started watching yesterday, Altern, of a person that says, I love Helldivers 2, and now I'm going to tell you for the next 22 minutes why I hate Helldivers 2. And I watched the first 2 minutes of it, and I was like, I should watch this on stream. We're not going to do that today, though. We're not going to do that today. They're constantly ruining their game. The developers, there should be a book written on how to not ruin your game, or how to ruin your game as fast as possible. And that should be, well, 1, High Guard, 2, Helldivers 2. Jack says, I picked up my cat and made him dance to that song. You're welcome. Sarge says they fire people on Friday. Corpse fire people on Fridays. That's right. They fire everyone on Friday. What's going on, Roic? What's going on, Wonder Rose? Good morning. Let's start off with the first story, shall we? The first story that we have here is Xbox Studio Compulsion, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory facing closure, it's claimed. Now, there's a lot of stories going on. There's a lot of people making videos. There's a lot of people saying stuff that it's official. We never say it's official until it's actually official. So I just want to make it clear, okay? What we do here is that we just read the stories, and then we have our information, right, that we read in the story itself, give you my thoughts and opinions on the story itself, and then we get your thoughts and opinions. This is not telling you that this has actually happened. Right? Maybe it has. We just haven't known about it yet, right? There's a lot of talk going on. I'm just giving my point of view on this story that's happening today on Tuesday. What's the day? The February 16th or February 16th. Jesus Christ, June 16th. I'm back in time, chat. I'm back in time. Okay. So if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. Xbox Studios, Compulsion, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory facing closure. It's claimed multiple Xbox studios are in negotiation to spin off to avoid closure, according to sources. Okay. Multiple Xbox studios are in negotiation to go independent in an attempt to avoid closure, sources say. Can I have a question on my own show. Yes, 30. Go ahead. Yes. Oh, what was the point? What was the point? Let me ask that again. What was the point of purchasing all of these companies if you're just going to either close them or release them on their own, right? Why in the world would you spend all that money when you could have just said, hey, Compulsion, would you like to make a game for Xbox? Right? Hey, Double Fine, would you like to make a game for Xbox? Hey, Ninja Theory, would you like to make a game for Xbox? And they're like, okay, we're going to make them for all places. Okay, I know the time has changed where exclusives and stuff, but why? Think about this for a second. Before we even read the article, why would Xbox buy all of these studios? Okay, to not make the games exclusive, but then get rid of them or let them go on their own accord. It makes no sense. And all of this has been under one person. Now, we thought it was Phil Spencer. Well, some of us thought it was Phil Spencer, but the rest of us thought it was Satya Nadella.
Celebrates 16 months of membership. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ward, for the 16 months. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the membership. Michelle says, 30, I have a techie question. With studios becoming more AI, will it be easier for hackers to get leaks or even more? I don't know how to correlate the two, Michelle. You're asking if the companies are becoming more AI, are there going to be more hackers leaking stuff? I think there would be less, right? Because if there's less people working for the company, then they would have less people, unless the people that are working for the company want to leak the information. But my theory is there's never a leak. Things are usually released, like at least for game size. If a studio is getting closed down and someone says, hey, I think the studio's closing down, that's a leak. But if it's a game and stuff like that, I don't think that's a leak. I think that's always there. So on, Sweat Dog, you're early or late. I don't know which one it is. Sarge says, short-term greed. Altern says, at this point, pretty obvious Satya is fucking up everything up at Microsoft. Right? It was like at least when Phil Spencer was there, it was like shadowed, right? You could blame a whole bunch of other people. But now that they're not there, and then the new person's there, and the stuff is still happening, right? Sweat Dog says, hour left of work, just watching 2 CNC milking machines cut while I have ahead the next fan. Milling. He said it. Milling, not milking. Maybe you're a dairy farmer. I don't know. Krabsy says, because Xbox is constantly inconsistent. At least they're consistently inconsistent. They're more flip-floppy happening at Xbox on the beaches of Florida. I mean, at least they're consistent with something, right? Michelle says, I meant like when companies get hacked and we get a lot of info and emails. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying, no, I don't think it'll happen more. I think it'll happen the same because the people that are hacking and doing the stuff are going to be hackers and doing stuff anyway, regardless if it's AI there or not. I don't think it changes in the more or less. I think it's the same. I think there's groups out there that like to hack companies, and I think it'll be the exact same. Sarge says, here's the deal. Satya shaved his head because he's having health issues. He isn't thinking clearly. Maybe. All right. So as according to Bloomberg, with the first report of the news is corroborated with VGC's own sources who indicate that Compulsion games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory are among those of active negotiations to spin off from Xbox. Now, the Xbox studios are said to have a risk of being shuttered, of having an opportunity to buy themselves back from Microsoft and go independent, which has happened with Halo back in the day, or I'm sorry, with Bungie back in the day, though employees are likely to lose their jobs as a result, according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. Now, employees at several studios have been informed of the situation and given permission to seek new work, but here we're told the status of the studios is still in flux, he wrote. Cambridge, England-based Ninja Theory, Hellblade, announced a new game, Senua, just last week at the Xbox Game Showcase. Both Compulsion South of Midnight and Double Fine Killing, which is on Game Pass as well, have released games in the last year. All three studios are known for creating award-winning original games, but not necessarily commercial hits. Okay, to potential studios' closure or sales come as part of expected widespread cuts at Microsoft Gaming Division, which were foreshadowed in week by comments by CEO Satya Nadella. Now, the Xbox boss, Asha Sharma, has also warned the Xbox business needed to be more profitable in the future. Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Real quick, just saying they need to be more profitable in the future, you need to stop putting 1,000 people on a video game and costing $250 million. Now, I'm not sure what Compulsion Games spent on South of Midnight. Okay. South of Midnight, overall, was a nice game. Nice game. The combat in the game was absolutely horrendous, right? They made a game. They sold that game, and I respect that, right? Make a game, sell a game. Not all games succeed. Now, I don't think South of Midnight did more damage than say Concord did for Sony, right? You know what I mean? Krebsy says $100 million. Thank you very much. Right? $100 million for that game. Right? So let's do some quick math, right? Let's do some quick math. If it's $100 million, and how much was the game cost? Was it $70? Right? They needed to sell 1.4 million copies. If I look at the Steam charts, I think my channel has more people watch it than the actual people that were playing the game. Okay. Which is, not good. Right? $40? Okay, so if it's $40, let me right, 100 million. So they need to sell 2.5 million copies. Okay, 2.5 million copies, and that's rough for a game like that. Now, I'm going to segue here. We're going to go down the rabbit hole for a second. No, we're not. There we go.
Where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
Okay, so let's go down this rabbit hole for a second, right? Little segue here. If they make games that they tell you are, just for instance, yesterday, Lara Croft, the person that's playing Lara Croft in the new Tomb Raider, said that gaming is for everyone. It's for guys, it's for girls, and it's for gays. Okay? I don't know if she knows this, but everyone is included all those things. You don't have to say those things. The problem with the video game industry is that they focus on certain things, and then other people in the gaming industry are like, I don't want to be preached to. Don't tell me stuff like that. Otherwise, I won't buy your game. And we've seen this over the last 5 years. Lots of games that come out that do what they do, say what they say, okay, do these things, okay. Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in a lot of these studios, and every single one of these games failed monetizally wise. Okay, they could not make their money back because of the stuff. Right now, the people just want video games. We just want video games. We don't want to be preached to. We don't want to be told that we're sexist, racist, misogynistic, or any of that stuff. Same with the movie industry. We just want to watch movies. We just want to play video games. So when you do stuff like this, it hurts your game sales. Avowed. Game sales hurt because of the art director. Compulsion games hurt because of the persona of stuff, right? If they just made a game and sold that game and didn't say anything, okay, and except just make the game, then I don't think they would have problems. But they don't realize that your customer base doesn't want to buy your games because you're preaching to them, okay? It's mind-boggling to me that these businesses don't understand the business. The business is, how do we keep making game sales? Well, maybe if we stop insulting our player base, thinking there's another player base on the other side of the grass is green syndrome, okay, then they would keep their mouth shut and be like, oh, they could have been profitable this entire time, but instead they chose to fight the people that were buying the games, right? All right, back on track here. Concerns first arose last week, and Xbox was planning another round of layoffs after Sharma stated during a Bloomberg tech conference, and she planned on resetting the business. Okay, resetting the business means boop, right, and starting from scratch. Which Sarge and I always say that you have to get rid. You got to get rid of it. You got to take all the cancer out, right? You can't just take a little bit out. That's why you go to chemo, right? Right? Not to make lightly of cancer in any way, shape, or form. My father had cancer. Okay. But you have to get rid of it all. If there's just a little bit of remnants left, it could spread again. Okay. So resetting the business means you got to get rid of a lot of people in a lot of places. Okay. Now, not a healthy spot. Shortly after Bloomberg's report, the Microsoft was planning significant cuts to its gaming division, reportedly planned to take place shortly after the end of the fiscal year of June 30th. Now, in the time frame, Sharma sent a surprisingly candid note to staff in which she shared realities that we need to be negative to navigate, claiming that Nintendo's annual revenue had declined yearly $500 million in 5 years. Okay, with hardware costs up 4 times and the studio seemed overextended, which we read last week, right? News of the cuts come from week after Xbox Big Game Showcase, where we also shared updates on the biggest upcoming titles and committed to the releasing of new Xbox console exclusives. The digital showcase was also followed by a lavish fan fest celebration of media event in Los Angeles. Now, what I find funny is they keep doing the shit sandwich. The shit sandwich is, like, you give a compliment to somebody, and then you tell them bad things, and then you ended up with another compliment, right? That's what that's what Microsoft is doing. They're like, hey, look at this. We got exclusives. Here's Gears War E-Day. By the way, Gears War E-Day costs $400 million, and we don't know if it can stay exclusive. Oh, by the way, we have another exclusive, right? It's like, hey, look at all these games coming out. We have Senua. We have all these brand new games coming out. That's the bun, right? Then the shit comes. We got to let go of a whole bunch of companies. Oh, by the way, we're resetting for the fans, right? It's a shit sandwich. That's exactly what they're doing. Because news to expect cuts comes exactly a year after Microsoft's huge 9,000 job cuts last summer, which saw Xbox division hit hard. Notably, a planned Perfect Dark reboot was canceled alongside Rare's Everwild and other projects. Microsoft also made significant cuts to Xbox division in 2024 and 2023, including 1,900 staff cuts across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox. Now, earlier on Monday, Xbox studio game boss Craig Duncan announced he is leaving the company just 18 months after taking the role, which we'll talk about right here. But before we do that, let's go back to chat here. Sarge says the bottom line is PlayStation and Microsoft don't have the same brand loyalty as Nintendo because they have fucked their customer base for too long. A Mario game sells 15 million copies easily, right? Krebsy says, well, you also need marketing. True. I'm just getting general math. It doesn't matter because they didn't sell 1.4 million. They weren't going to sell 2.5 million, regardless if they had, add on top of that. Obviously, they had to sell like 3 million or 4 million copies, which wasn't going to happen. They couldn't sell 1.5. Sarge says if the Power Rangers game does decent, then does he see why Sailor Moon wouldn't do the same? Only he says at the end of the day, people vote with their wallets, right? And all we want is good games, right? Look at the games that people like. And then when they make a game that people don't like, they're like, let's make 5 more of those. And they're like, right? Helldivers 2, when it came out, was the perfect game. People loved the Horde game. People were asking for Horde modes and other games for the longest time. Helldivers 2 comes out and gives that awesome Horde mode, right? You feel powerful. It's fun gameplay. And then they start making it worse, right? And you're like, why? Right? Then there's games that come out that look great, and then somebody comes out to open their mouth. They're like, by the way, this game is meant for these people. We don't want you. And it's like, why would you say that? It makes no sense. Did you get into video games to make video games? Or did you get into making video games to be an activist? Makes you wonder. Sarge says you got to get rid of these certain kind of people with certain kind of narrative, the ones that are also losing you tens of millions of dollars. Let's see. Michelle says Power Ranger fan are divided into fans from like 7 different series. Sailor Moon is easier for fans to know and they're familiar with the brand that is not as many different looks. Sure, but I don't know. I don't know the Sailor Moon community here. Is Sailor Moon as big as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I don't know. I can't even fathom to tell you that it's not as big or is way smaller. I don't know. I would assume that it's not as big as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers spread across 7 generations or whatever the hell it is, the 7 different series. Jack Garland says Nintendo has brand loyalty because they hijack people's childhoods. Yes, they hijack nostalgia. Right? You remember when you were a kid, doesn't matter how old you were, you close your eyes, and when I say Nintendo, you think of 2 things. You think of Mario and Zelda. Nostalgia is very powerful, okay? It holds you because especially if you're a Gen Xer, right, like myself, your parents probably worked 2 jobs. You probably were watching a lot of television, right? You were probably, you know what I mean? Like, that was your comfort food, right? That Nintendo NES with Mario back then was like, that was your best friend, right? You're like, man, I love Nintendo. Me and Nintendo. Forget Teddy Ruxpin, okay? Nintendo was your pal, right? And you're like, man, we had some good times, me and Nintendo. Right? That's what it was. So now you grew up and you're like, man, I love Nintendo, right? Even though Crazy Uncle Nintendo, okay, we got Crazy Uncle Nintendo.
Crazy Uncle Nintendo.
Right? Crazy Uncle Nintendo gives you good stuff. Gives you Zelda, gives you Metroid, right? You had some crazy other games out there that you just absolutely love. Castlevania, Kid Icarus, Mega Man, right? You remember all these things on that console. So that's nostalgia back then. You didn't pick up a PlayStation until you were like later on in your teens, maybe early 20s and stuff like that, right? You don't feel as attached to that brand. Just Enough says no, but I would buy a Sailor Moon game for research purposes. Sounds reasonable. What's on, Roadkill? A YouTube video popped up to me yesterday saying Power Rangers, one of the actors murdered these two people on a boat. What? Jesus, that's dark. That's dark. Sarge says Sailor Moon was a better version of the Rainbow Bright from Japan. Nintendo hasn't done shit for the Nintendo Switch, too. They don't have to. They just dangle Mario, Zelda, Star Fox. They don't have to do anything. Bare minimum. These other companies want to be like Nintendo. Nintendo's like, look at these guys fighting over here. All right? Look at these guys fighting over here. All we got to do, we got a remaster of Zelda coming. They're like, it's amazing. Woo! Love it. Nintendo recycled the same 8 games over and over and over, and we all sucked them up. Yep, that's it. Shadow says Sailor Moon obviously has a bigger female fan base. I'm sure. Michelle says Sailor Moon is one of the fans globally fan base comparison why Sailor Moon wins. Japan plus Asia equals huge. Power Rangers barely exist there because Super is the original thought. Yeah, but here's the thing. It's big in Japan, big in Asia. You know what system isn't big in those countries? Xbox. So if they made a Sailor Moon video game and it was on Xbox, it wouldn't sell. It would only be on PlayStation, and it would sell well over in Japan. Shadow says the Switch 2 consoles are selling fine. Not according to Nintendo, Shadow. You're going up against Nintendo. Nintendo themselves have said in America they're 32% down, even though they're the fastest selling, not the highest selling, the fastest selling console ever to exist right now in modern history. At this point, since it's been out, it's selling faster than any console has before. But by Nintendo's own words, it's not selling good enough. So, take it up with Nintendo. El Nino says, did I miss a Sailor Moon segment? No, you missed this segment, which is
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
it's the rabbit hole. We went down the rabbit hole, El Nini. What's going on, Fake Wizard? Hail, Fake Wizard. All right, so we got the next thing of Xbox, right? Xbox is just shooting off all cylinders right now, right? They got the shit sandwich going really well, right? Giving your hopes and dreams, then shitting on it, and then putting the topping on top of it going, we hear you, okay? So the Xbox Game Studio boss Craig Duncan steps down after just 18 months. This man was the head of Rare. Got promoted 18 months ago to Xbox Game Studio boss, and now he's leaving. Why? I don't know. Let's read and find out. Christopher Drigg here from the Game Business. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right, so Xbox Game Studio boss Craig Duncan steps down. He says the head of Xbox Game Studio, Craig Duncan, has stepped down after just 18 months in his role. Duncan replaced former studio boss Alan Hartman in November of 2024 and oversaw the Halo Studios, the Coalition, the Flight Sim, Turn 10, Playground Games, Rare, Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, and Initiative, Double Fine, Undead Labs, World Edge, and XGS Publishing. Well, that sounds like a checklist of who's going to get fired, really, right? Because we just read the article where Ninja Theory is probably getting let go. Okay, we got Double Fine, who is probably going to get let go. Compulsion Games is probably going to get fired or released from Xbox. The best case scenario is getting released from them so they can, like Tim Sweeney said, we didn't fire anybody, we let them go so you can have better developers inside the ecosystem. Okay, it says he departs the organization this week. The studio will report the Xbox Chief Content Officer Matt Booty until their replace is found. Can I just say, Matt Booty, I don't know how this man keeps doing what he's doing. I don't know how he can say that Tango Gameworks is what we need to do more of and then fire Tango Gameworks. I don't know how he can say Redfall is amazing and fine and then it comes out and it's completely shit. Okay? Then Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond get fired. I'm sorry. Resigned and retired, okay? And yet Matt Booty gets promoted as Asha Sharma's right-hand man. How does this man, is it the name? Is it because they like Booty? I don't understand it. This man has the worst takes in all of Xbox, says the worst things all in Xbox, and for some strange reason, this man still has a job. It's amazing. Okay? Until a replacement is found. So Matt Booty is now the Chief Content Officer. Amazing. Duncan has been part of the Xbox organization since 2011, and he's best known for running highly regarded UK developer Rare for nearly 14 years. Right? He oversaw the developers Connect and Sea of Thieves eras. Prior to that, he held various senior roles. He's Codemaster, Midway, Sumo Digital, and also worked across the titles such as Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Wheelman on Colin McRae, and he also VP of the Charity of Special Effects. Meanwhile, Xbox Studio Chief and Staff Louise O'Connor, I think she's Irish, will also be leaving the company. O'Connor, I wish I had an Irish accent. O'Connor, nah, that's not one, joined Rare in 1999, beginning with the animator of the cult favorite N64 game Concord, Bad Fury Day. She's working on numerous art and product production roles at the UK studio, and even won a ALAS or AIAS reward for voicing the character. Okay, in Viva Pinata. She has also left Rare following the cancellation of Everwild in 2025 before becoming chief and the staff in September of last year. In an email to staff, Duncan wrote, quote, "When I stepped into the role of leading the GXS 20 months ago, 18, Duncan, 20, wasn't 20, it was 18. My purpose was to serve our studios, our teams, and our people making our games together. We set out to deliver high-quality games, strengthen the culture of fabric across the studios, and help shape the future of the business." How's that looking? How's that looking? I'm proud to say that we delivered many flawless launches and drove business success for the company. Satya Nadella says they haven't been profitable ever. Drove success. I guess the success is different for everybody, right? O'Connor, he added, Luis has also been a thoughtful, creative trust partner who also constantly championed the craft and supported our studios with clarity and care. I'm grateful for everything she brought to XGS, and I'm sure it'll be successful whenever it comes for her. Next, I'm leaving the company. O'Connor joined Rare in 1999, being the animator and cult favorite of N64, which we already read. In an email, we already read that. Why are we doing this again? Why are we doing this again? Added, Luis has also been thoughtful, creative, trusted partner, and constantly championing the craft supported. All right. So Duncan's leaving. And from that, everything Microsoft touches could turn to shit because Treyarch studio head stepping down after 22 years. But we'll get to that after we get to chat. Shadow says, Nintendo always wants more sales. All the companies do. This is what always sets such a high forecast number. Sure. I understand that. If you're here all the time, Shadow, you know what I talk about, and said that how can Nintendo say it's a failure yet they're the most profitable? Make it make sense. Okay, they make the most money possible, and they're like, we're down 32%. Boo-hoo. Please help us. Sarge says because they are not making all the money, a game that sells 7 million copies is now trash. Just Enough says I used to watch Sailor Moon and Pokemon every day before school. I still know all the words for the theme song. Go ahead, sing it to us. Sing it to us. I'm gonna go quiet for a second. I'm just gonna picture you singing it. I don't even know what your voice sounds like. Oh, you're beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. Michelle says 30. I have a great Bond idea. Amazon needs to hire Fake Wizard as their new James Bond. He has the perfect personality and would bring a brand new recognition of the course of all gamers to watch it. I don't know about that, Michelle. There's one rule that James Bond needs to be, and that's British. I don't think Wizard's British. I don't care how wizardy he looks. Okay, he's definitely he could not be Bond. Sorry, Wizard. I think Wizard would agree. El Nini says the Senua game did interest me. Don't you like Shit Sandwich? Here you go. Here's Ninja Theories, their brand new game, Senua. We're letting go of the company. Enjoy Game Pass. Right? I'd be like, I don't even know that game is coming out now. It's so dumb. Eclipse says maybe they'll do what they did for Toys for Bob, make them independent, and they still make games for them. Well, this is what I don't understand. Why spend $7 billion? Not that Bethesda's going anywhere right as of right now, but why spend $7 billion on Bethesda when Bethesda was already making games for you? They were making games for everybody. They were putting it on PlayStation and Xbox. But why would you pay them $7 billion? Why would you pick up, all of these studios to do nothing with, and then when they do make something for you, you're like, yeah, thanks for those 3 games. We're going to fire you. Hey, Tango Gameworks, thanks for making that really cool game. We're going to let you go. It's like, what are we talking about? Mr. G says, mid-boss, the employees get fired. The executives all here way ahead of time and get resigned or moved. Oh, yeah. Well, they don't want to be there for the thing. They're like, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to be around with this. Ron Slusher says, Matt Booty is the only around because he's going to be the scapegoat when Xbox closes. You think so? If anyone can, O'Connor can. That's a great line for like an auto parts. Like go to O'Connor's. If anyone can, O'Connor can. Leo says, I wonder if Craig Duncan is forming his own company. I think a lot of people would work for him. There's something happening with Rare, man. Something's happened with Sea of Thieves. They've changed. Something's going down with them. We'll see what happens. We might hear, Leo, maybe like 6 months from now, Duncan starts his own studio, and a bunch of Rare developers move over, and they start making a game. Krebsy says, why is everyone talking about Sailor Moon? Obviously, this is a Sailor Moon stream. I mean, what are we talking about, Krebsy? We talk about Sailor Moon all the time here. Where have you been? We're 24/7 Sailor Moon. Jack Garland says, I know the words to the old 60s Batman theme song. I bet you do. Fake Wizard says, I'm not British, though. That's right. See? That's right. Fake Wizard. He might be a fake wizard, but he is not a fake British wizard. Shadow says, because someone asked if Sailor Moon was popular. Jack Garland says, I heard they were making Starfield another PlayStation exclusive. It was supposedly a timed exclusive, not an exclusive, right? But think about the game here, right? So Microsoft heard that they were going to make it a time exclusive. So Microsoft said, let's buy it for $7 billion so we can put it on our console and also put it on PC. And then 2 years later, put it on PlayStation, right? That was a better scenario for everybody, wasn't it? Because otherwise, it would have just been a PlayStation exclusive. Time. And it was funny because what was his name? Pete Hines was upset when they bought out and said, we're not putting it on PlayStation, which is weird because PlayStation was going to make him a time exclusive on PlayStation. But he was upset that Xbox made him a non-exclusive on all things, just not releasing on PlayStation on day one. Shadow says popular doesn't necessarily mean game sales, especially on a series that has more appeal to women than men. Sure. Here's the thing, though. In every market, women spend more money than men in everything else, except gaming. Except gaming. Men don't want to buy all this other shit, right? A man will sit on a floor, buy 100 games, a 50-inch television set, a video game system or a PC, no couch, okay? And they'll drink a beer out of a koozie with the helmet on, okay? And they're happy. Men buy more video games. Jesse Mack says Microsoft problem is how much they're spent on game studios and IPs. You have this Xbox is fucked now. I don't know if they're fucked. They just have to, they're going to downsize. Look, best case scenario. Look, I said this yesterday. I don't care if Xbox goes belly up, boo-hoo, somebody will come up and replace them. Which brings me up to a perfect tweet that I saw earlier today, which is this one right here. Right? Fandom Plus has Sandy Person, a designer of Doom and Quake, Call of Cthulhu, and Age of Empires, responding on social media to fans asking how to save Blizzard. Okay? He says, quote, we don't need to save Blizzard. We didn't need to save Microsoft or id Software or Assemble Studios or Atari. We don't to save any game company. If they die, they die. They will be replaced with a new, likely superior game company. Gaming continues. This is the perfect thing. Based as fuck. Okay? Based as fuck. Everyone, when first come in here, they think I'm a Xbox fanboy because we have an Xbox, okay? And we play on Xbox. And the people that came into this channel years ago was like, oh, 30's an Xbox and he hates Sony. No, I'm a gamer. And I play games where games are. And if your gaming company dies, I go to another gaming company that's making a better product, hence why your company died. Right? That's how it works. Right? I don't need Xbox. I don't need Sony. Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox could all go bye-bye, and I will figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll play something else. Okay? If gaming goes bye-bye, guess what? I go outside and I play a game. I throw darts. Right? I'll go bowling. I'll go play billiards. Okay? I will do something. I love video games, don't get me wrong. But my world doesn't exist because Xbox and Sony and Nintendo exist, right? They had their time. I play the games and I move on. Krebsy says, exclusives fuel Game Pass. Diversity, portfolio, Xbox is stupid. Shadow says, Rare became a turd after Microsoft bought them. Is one because of the other, or is the people that make the original company leave and go do something else, right? So when did Bungie become shit? Was Bungie shit when Microsoft owned them? They made Halo and all them, right? Was Bungie shit when Activision bought them? Because that was one of their most popular things. Was Bungie shit when they went independent? Was Bungie shit when Sony picked them up? The answer to all of these things is yes. Krebsy says, I saw this tweet and thought the guy looked like an older Sarge. I don't see it. Kylo says, I love the fanboy mindset of wanting Xbox eliminated. Why would you want why not competition? Without Sony can charge whatever they want on the slop, and they also already are producing. Here's the thing. It's not just Sony versus Xbox. It's not just Sony versus Xbox. It's Sony versus Nintendo and Xbox and Steam and everyone else. If you want a console and Xbox is gone, guess what? Xbox just is a publisher then. Xbox just makes games and you buy the system, right? You don't have to buy Sony. You can buy a PC. There's still competition out there. Right? Perfect scenario here. Let's say the Steam box comes out, or the Steam machine, whatever you want to call it, right? It comes out and becomes the brand new console that everybody wanted. It's a PC. It's a console. Why do I need Xbox's console? Right? So now Steam becomes that new box. Takes the place of whoever else is gone. Sega Dreamcast went bye-bye. Microsoft came up. Mr. Luke says, don't forget to like the stream. I appreciate that. Hit that like button. Ron Slusher says, I'm a Stadia fanboy. There, I said it. Oh, is that what this whole thing was about, Ron? All these years, all the stuff that you say, this was just pent up, and it's all right, man. We appreciate you. I understand your humor. Because he says outside. Leo says, you're better than me. I'm still peeved at EA for what they did to Watch Dogs. Yeah, holding a grudge there, Leo. Yeah, I don't. Look, I play games. Don't get me wrong. Am I upset that I can't play the Sega Dreamcast? I mean, I can. I have it. I can play it, right? But I am a customer. The only thing between us, not me and you, me and the business, is a monetary transaction. They make product. I give them money for product. I play product. In no way, shape, or form do I think they are my friend, right? In no way, shape, or form do I think they care about me, the customer. All I want is a product that they make, and then I give them money for that product. That's it. That is our transaction, right? Nothing more, nothing less. I don't love Xbox. I don't love Sony. I love games. Anybody that wants to make a game that I like, I love you. Anybody that makes a game that I don't like, I don't care about you. And anyone that makes a game and preaches to me, go fuck yourself. Mr. Luke says Xbox turns in just Game Pass without the Xbox. It might be the next step. No more hardware, which I've been saying for the entire time for 6 years, Luke. I've said that Xbox's whole plan when they started, okay, when cloud gaming and stuff came out and stuff like that, Xbox's whole business model, or I should say Microsoft's whole business model, is make nothing, sell the software type of stuff, right? They want to be the Steam, but Steam beat them to it, okay? Xbox started as a console, okay, and now they don't want to be in the console market. I think this is apparent from what happened where they can't get the RAM. They didn't make the RAM. We talked about this yesterday, right? They just want to, Microsoft, Bill Gates didn't want to make computers. He just made the software for computers. They became a $1 trillion company. Okay. Xbox made video games for a console. Well, now the console is no longer needed. No longer needed. So they're like, well, why don't we just get rid of it and make Game Pass and put everything, right? Let's be the Netflix of video games. I'm telling you, the cloud gaming, I know people want to push back on it, right? That is their end game. That is their end game. No one's complaining about GeForce Now. That, oh my God, they're doing cloud gaming. These bastards are trying to take over. No one cares. But Microsoft doesn't like cloud gaming shit. It's not capable of doing it. You can't do it. Go try GeForce Now. Go play it. Most people won't even be able to tell. Jesse Mack says, without competition, they will do nothing as Overwatch for years until Marvel rivals, and then they wake up and etc. If Xbox falls, let's say Sony's there by itself, okay? mind that there is no Steam, there is no Nintendo. It's just Sony on their. Someone will make a console. Someone will compete with them because people will be fed up with it and say, I'm not paying those prices. So they make competition. That's how that works. El Nini says facts. EA for Sims, Ubisoft for Watch Dogs, copy and paste error. Sorry, there you go. Altern says, to be fair, GeForce Now didn't buy a publisher for $70 billion. So, the pressure is on. Yeah, but as a customer, why does it matter to us, Altern, if a company bought something for $70 billion or just started a company? Who's making the product? The product is cloud gaming, right? The money that they spend has nothing to do with me. They make it us because they're like, oh yeah, we spent $70 billion and no, now the console is $2,000. How about buying your console? Shadow says, cloud gaming has always been the end game since Xbox One. Thought it started towards the end of the 360 life cycle. You ready? All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to take a quick break, go make some breakfast for my son. Yeah, it'll be like a 3-minute break. All right. I'll play some music for you, and then we'll be back in just a couple seconds or a couple minutes. All right.
To explain. Wake up in the Cosmodrome rain, a dead earth calling out your name. Ghost says, Guardian, rise again. No map, no guide, just fire in your hand. The dark below, we fought in caves. Hive kings crawling from ancient graves. House of wolves, betrayal lines. Prison of elders, one more try at a time. We were lost, but we believed. In the light we couldn't see. We were chasing light through time. Every loss still felt like mine. From broken stars to burning skies, we kept on fighting, never asking why. Oh, eyes up, don't fade away. We're more than the ghosts of yesterday. Through every raid and every sign, we were chasing light through time. Then came the king, the taken rise. Oryx falling from the sky. Gjallarhorn sang one last song, and suddenly the world felt strong. Rise of iron, the plague lands cry. Shiver spreading like a lie. Salvation forged in fire and steel. We learned what pain could really feel. Every white, every fall, we still answered when they called. We were chasing light through time. Every scar became a sign. From the ball of glass to the final line, we kept on pushing past the climb. Oh, eyes up, don't lose your way. The traveler still lights up the grave. Through every raid and every sign, we were chasing light through time. Red war hit, we lost it all. The tower burned, we took the fall. Then curse of Osiris, war mind flame, trying to rebuild a broken name. Forsaken struck like a knife in the dark. Katie's laughter left a mark. We hunted down revenge and fate. That's when the game felt truly great.
Sorry about that. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. El Nini says cloud gaming is being the go-to normal is years away. It doesn't have to be the normal. It doesn't have to be the normal. Okay? I've said it 2 years ago. I said within 6 to 7 years, and I said this 2 years ago, that cloud gaming will be the majority. Okay? Regardless if you want. All right? And my argument to this is people said that physical games will never go away, right? And it's not going to be it'll never be the majority. Well, then it was. I said it will until it isn't. And what I meant by that is you can see in stores. You can go to stores now, go to Target, go to Walmart, go to GameStop, whatever, okay? And there's more digital cards than actual physical games, okay? That wasn't your choice. That was their choice. That was Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox. That was their choice, right? You're not buying physical games anymore, right? And they said, oh, well, digital games will be cheaper. And they never were, right? Until Nintendo did it just recently because they raised the price to $80 for physical games, right? You will play regular games, digital games that are not cloud until they make cloud the thing. That's it. And you will have a choice because they'll be like, hey, we got rid of this, and now you have to play on the cloud. You already have no choice on playing all your games because they have to stay online. They're all online. Single-player games, multiplayer games, whatever games, right? They're all online. They have to connect to online to be the thing. You're like, well, I don't need online. Well, it doesn't matter. They chose it for you, right? Because that's what they wanted to do. That's the industry goes. Hence why everyone thinks that Sony, Xbox, and Microsoft, or Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo are in competition. But really, my analogy, like I've always said, is they're the chocolatiers in Willy Wonka, right? Where they control the industry. They control the chocolate industry. They control the gaming industry. Leo says, yep, I'm here playing on Portal in the market for true gaming handheld that plays Steam after trying out this Portal. Mr. Luke says, I see I'm cutting half the studios off and the books and the balance them and the last box will be upgradable, so won't need to make any more again. That's the customer's choice for not buying physical. You really think that's their choice, Krebsy? You really think the choice was yours? If that's what you want to believe, sure. The choice of not buying physical was 100% on the companies not making physical. They didn't want to make physical because they didn't want to lose to the secondhand market. So they made digital as fast as possibly could, right? It was the reason they went so fast, because it was a 5-year plan, is because of 2017 and 2018, it flip-flopped, boom. Because people were like, oh, this is more convenient. I don't have to go to midnight showings. The companies wanted that. Eclipse says, anyone pays $80 for a Nintendo game is a sucker. Sucker born on every minute. It's a sucker born every second, every minute. Leo says, hopefully by the time my internet company will finally install fiber in my area, cloud gaming is possible for me. My internet isn't good enough right now. We had this conversation yesterday, Leo, where they don't need the infrastructure to be everywhere for everybody. They could just focus in on like really populated areas. So like I said this yesterday, think about it as in the United States. I don't know where you are. United States, when we vote, there's major population swings, right? So like one city can make the whole state Democrat or Republican because of the mass amount of people voting on it, right? So when you look at little quadrants and stuff like that, that's how you would look at gaming, right? So when cloud gaming happens, they don't have to make it for the rural places out in the middle of nowhere. They would work on it into the major infrastructure for major cities and stuff like that. Sort of like how they made Wi-Fi work and stuff like that. Eclipse says exactly. Stuff they own, they get 100%. That sounds like a better than printing out a booklet in a case. Right. If you think 100% it wasn't our choice, it was like the companies wanted to make digital. They didn't want to make the plastic. They didn't want to make the disc. They didn't want to make the booklets. They're like, wait a minute, we're giving out how much to the middleman? Mr. Luke says, cloud gaming is good if you're wired in and not Wi-Fi. What animal plays like that? All right, let's move on from that to that. We got Treyarch. I don't think we need to read the Treyarch one. Who plays Wi-Fi? Let's go back. Oh, here's a rumor. You guys put this up in earlier, right? Again, this is a rumor. All these things are rumors. Nothing's for real. Okay. So, rumor, gaming industry, bloodbath imminent as Sony, Microsoft, and more brace for mass layoffs. Okay. Bethesda, BioWare, and more named. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. A summer of utter carnage reportedly awaits the game industry as mega publishers like Sony, Microsoft, and others look to cut entire studios loose. Okay. This is according to a reputable French journalist. How do you say that? How do we say that?
Sylvain Trinal.
Sylvain Trinal, who took a social media overnight in response to the ongoing chaos over the Xbox. Trinal comments that Xbox, frankly unforgivable situation is which the several active development outfits are facing imminent closure. It's just the beginning of a massive bloodbath for studios owned by publishers. He then highlights French companies like Don't Nod and Quantic Dream before making a broader claim that the mass layoffs are expected in many well-known studios. So Quantic Dream, I don't think we're going to see that Star Wars game, huh? As a recent reports has outlined, both Don't Nod and Quantic Dream are facing serious financial troubles, which we actually read, I want to say about a month ago for Quantic Dream. The former is seeking funding for the current project before its own reverse are bleed dry, and later have been consumed by production woes across the board. He says, quote, it's going to be a catastrophic, Trinal continues. Okay. He also goes on to drop more names. He's like, quote, I take a look at what's going on in id Software, Bethesda, and BioWare. The echoes I've been able to pick up tonight are far from encouraging. There really isn't just the beginning. Okay, so he's saying that even id Software, Bethesda, and BioWare are in trouble. We knew BioWare was in trouble for years. So what about Sony? Well, the PlayStation maker obviously owns some of the most successful studios on the planet, but apparently they won't be enough to save it. Replying to a query about Bungie in the somewhat struggling multiplayer shooter marathon, Trinal writes, keep an eye on the month of July, but not necessary for the studios you're talking about. Interesting. So obviously we talked about Bungie being laid off in June. Now, obviously, it'll be July. Because they backed the wrong horse and they're in the ballpark for marathon, right? It says, naturally, this post has already sparked speculation amongst PlayStation fans, developers like Media Molecule, Dreams, and Bend Studios, Days Gone, have been mentioned due to distinct lack of persistence across the PlayStation 5 generation. It's a shame, but this is what happens when companies buy things. They're like, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that you read the stories of like Sony not selling as many first-party titles. They're not selling as many stuff anymore, right? The fans tell you that, oh, well, they're selling well, and this is it. But if they were selling well, they wouldn't be letting off. Now, again, this is a speculation because they haven't actually fired anybody yet. But they're letting people go. They're like, oh, everyone's fine. Like it's that scene where the guy walks in with the pizza, and the apartment's on fire. Everything's fine, right? That's the thing that's happening right now in the gaming industry. Everything's fine. Holding the pizza, everything around them is up in flames. Obviously, we have to wait and see whether or not Trissel is on the money with all of this. But at this point in time, it's certainly not difficult to imagine the state of games industry getting much worse before it gets better. Did you guys know there was 19,000 games being made? 19,000 games being made. Guess what? Companies are going to go under, and another company comes into its place. How it works. Let's just take this scenario for a second. Let's say the company of a small team of 15 people making Winrose right now, when it finally releases, because they've already sold, I think, 2 million copies, okay, for an early access game. Let's say now it goes 1.0. It's released. And now Winrose sells, let's say, 5 or 6 million copies, right? And And they're like, oh my God, that's a big hit. Somebody is going to be like, we want you. We want you to make a game for us. And they're like, okay, how much are you going to pay us? And they pay the money. And then that's how everything goes, right? Companies get made, games get made, game becomes popular, popular becomes popular with the studios. The studio's like, I want to pick you up. They buy them, and then they close them down or they destroy them or whatever it is, right? You've seen it over and over and over. There's plenty of people that are not making $400 million games, okay, that are making video games right now, that doesn't take 7 years to make, and they're making video games, and they're selling them, and they're popular, and they're making money, and they go on to make a second game or a third game, just like they did in the past. You didn't need a Sony, you didn't need a Microsoft, you didn't need a Nintendo, you just had independent developers making video games and then selling them on the consoles they wanted to make for. It's going to happen again. It's not going to be like, oh no, what do we do? How do we withstand as gamers? How do we withstand this? Krebsy posted this in the chat and said at this mark, this is from Colt Eastwood. We've only watched, I think, one of his things before. So I'm going to take this as Krebsy has information here that they're going to say something. Why is it not? I can't make it full screen for some reason. All right, whatever. Let's watch this and see what they have to say.
This is the email that was sent to me, and some of it's going to come across a little bit harsh, but hey, it's coming. I'm just going to read it verbatim here. For tonight, why are you being allowed to reveal these things? Is that a member of Xbox?
Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry. My thing's always at 1.5 because that's how I listen to stuff on YouTube.
Leadership wants to have some clarity to the people because they deserve it. This is all quoted, by the way. Public-facing executives will lie to your face. Example, Greenberg saying that Gears Z-Day was never being worked on for PlayStation or that it wasn't pulled last minute. Both are lies. Leadership saying for years.
Yeah. The whole thing with Phil Spencer saying 4 games, then everything's coming over to PlayStation, and then they pulled it last second and now made it exclusive.
Xbox is doing better than ever is and has been a lie. It's been declining year over year for a long time.
Now, here's the thing. I want to know how this hasn't gone out before, because anyone that is a shareholder for Microsoft can see the books, right? Can see the books. So them saying in his words,
better than ever, okay? If
you're a shareholder for Microsoft, which I'm not, right? I'm not. If you're a shareholder, you can look at the books. You can see if it's profitable or not profitable. So if they're saying it's doing better than ever, no one double checked them. There's like, yeah, trust me, bro. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how someone can say it's fine. Everyone looks at the books, can see if it's fine or not. So someone's lying. Either it's not doing fine enough, still making profit, still making money, but not making enough money that they want to make. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if I want to sell, like, for instance, realistically, we get 30 people per show here, okay? If my goal is that I want 100 people, that's my goal. I want 100 people in my live show every day, okay? But we only hit 50 or 60 sometimes, right? I could say it's a failure because we didn't hit 100. I'll be like, oh, we're 40% down, right? That would be true, but at the same time, I'm still have a good numbers. But I'm over, like, saying I want 100 people, even though we get 50, 60. And I would say, oh, it's a failure. But I would look at it and go, it's not a failure, right? This is what I'm talking about as far as with these companies. If they're saying that they've ever been better than ever before, that could be true, okay? Because if before they were making, let's say, $10 billion, and now they're making $12 billion, that would be the best they've ever done before, but it didn't hit the trajectory of the $15 billion that they wanted to hit, right? So, again, if you're a shareholder, you would know if it's not profitable. So it's still profitable. It's just not profitable what they want to be profitable.
is and has been a lie. It's been declining year over year for a long time. Double Fine is working on a plan to become independent, which you guys obviously already knew about. Ninja Theory was working on the same. And then continues, and Ninja Theory has now failed its buyout and is closing down. Not sure if...
Okay, now these are all speculations, by the way. This is an email that he just got. So, don't know if this is true or false until it is.
Senua will even release. Continued. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 leadership will be held accountable, and that team is being reduced. Halo Studios...
We will be, like, they're being reprimanded. You guys didn't sell 15 million copies. You only sold 13. You will be accountable. The devs are just making a video game, man.
Is not safe. The road to creating Infinite was filled with failed projects, overspending, and Infinite did not do well. It had huge players, but not enough monetizing potential to make up for losses for years.
All I hear, I'm going to rewind that, okay? I'm gonna rewind that.
Studios is not safe. The road to creating Infinite was filled with failed projects, overspending, and Infinite did not do well. It had huge players, but not enough monetizing potential to make up for losses for years.
They are 100%, they still don't know what they did wrong. It's amazing to me that Halo Studios still doesn't understand what they did wrong. How did Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, ODST, Halo Reach, how are they all successful, but yet Infinite had to monetize and it wasn't successful? Maybe if you didn't spend 7 years making the video game, spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make that video game, okay? Just maybe you would be profitable. But instead, these upper management is a failure across the board, not just in Microsoft, okay? In studios across the industry, upper management has failed their studios. Upper management has failed the developers. Upper and middle management doesn't know how to manage money across multiple studios here, okay? They constantly just keep spending and spending and spending and spending and don't know, maybe because they've never ran something before or don't understand how math works. But if your budget is this high, you have to sell this much more copies to make that up. And apparently, they don't understand that. They're like, yeah, just keep spending. Yeah, we're all Grand Theft Auto. We're all going to make $1 billion off of the next game. Instead of honing it in, making sure that you don't hire someone that's worth $240,000 to work on something and sits there and doesn't do anything, and then does time crunch because no one was working in the beginning, and now they all have to work at the end, and then you spent 6 years making a video game, and then you close the studio down. Like, what are we talking about here? Upper management is a failure across the board in the industry.
You'll like this one. Gears of War E-Day is exclusive for now. Gears 2 Remake...
Did he just say Gears of War E-Day is exclusive for now? We just talked about this yesterday, right? It would look really bad if you say it's exclusive for Xbox, and then a year down the road, you're like, oh, by the way, E-Day is coming to PlayStation. You would just light a match to all the goodwill that you just put in front of Xbox fans. This is what we call a foreshadowing. Okay, this is going to happen. E-Day is going to become on PlayStation 18 months from now, 2 years from now, and then Xbox fans are going to lose their shit again because Satya Nadella is like, sorry, it didn't work out. I gave you 5 minutes.
Is still planned for multi-platform. I didn't even realize they were going to do that one. So as it stands for now, Gears 8 remains exclusive. I ask you all, he's addressing the chat, by the way, and all of us. I ask you all to remember that leadership said Starfield wasn't a timed exclusive either, but this time the PlayStation port is still being worked on so that if it needs...
Isn't that great? That's what I say, right? Physical games is a thing until it's not. Starfield was exclusive until it's not. Gears of War E-Day is exclusive until it's not.
Needs launched, it can be released quickly, and it won't have to be spun up from scratch. These referring to Gears E-Day. Helix is not releasing next year in 2027. That's not shocking to me. Helix is getting rescoped. The plans are not the plans that we're including.
First of all, if the console was coming out next year, you would be idiotic to release a console when the prices of RAM is so high. We, the customers do not need a new console right now. We do not need a new console. They are not making games for the new console until 5 years into the making, unless they already knew about the console, which they don't, because they don't have the dev kits, because it's not made. And it usually only gets about 18 months beforehand. And if they take 5 to 7 years to make a game, and they give it 18 months beforehand, it's not coming out in 2027. You're not going to see a first game that's made for that system until 5 years into that cycle. Minimum. We do not need a new console. Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are 13 years old. Okay? This one's 6 years old. You can wait another 6 years before you even talk about another system. We do not need another system. You haven't even done stuff with this system yet. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Right? The plan's the plan. Right? The plans are not the plans that were included. You can pick up the merch. The plan's the plan until it's not the plan.
Third-party stores. So that means no Steam or Epic would be on that console.
I can co-sign
Continues.
that.
Yeah,
Just off of
I
my
agree with that.
gut
too.
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But you'll still be able to play all the
Exclusives?
games. Just no stores. Yeah.
Right.
Buy them on your own.
Exclusives. Okay, there you go. All right, as I continue. Exclusives that are being looked at are from under the Xbox Studios umbrella. They are not Bethesda or Activision games. The Starfield test failed, and that data showed us that game didn't work financially and hurt us too much. Elder Scrolls and Fallout are not currently planned for exclusivity. Game Pass.
Here's the thing. If Xbox switched roles, right? If Xbox switched roles with PlayStation and Xbox had 90 million consoles in the market, then they can make it exclusive. But we don't live in that world. We're not in a what if moment. Okay. They have 28 million consoles out there. Give them 35. They can't make their games exclusive and put them on Game Pass. That doesn't work.
Currently is making $5 billion in revenue a year, but the
I'm sorry. Did they just say
Game Pass currently is making $5 billion.
Game Pass is currently making $5 billion a year? Hold on a second. If that's an actual number, we can work it out. Okay. 400. All right, so 5 billion. That's 500 million. That's 5 billion. That's 416, right? That's $416 million a month. $416 million a month. Do you understand how many games you can make with $416 million a month? Right? You can make one Gears of War, right? For 1 month. Right? Now, obviously, it's not profit, but $5 billion. Currently making $5 billion. So 416, let's divide that. Let's divide that by, was it 20? We'll just say $20 on average. They got about 20 million, roughly 20 million Game Pass members.
In revenue a year. Exclusivity. Game Pass currently is making $5 billion in revenue a year, but the amount of money that it has cost the Xbox Store, I guess over the last decade, is closer to $100 billion over the years.
That's okay. What they're saying there, what it's cost the last decade is closer. Well, he's saying, I guess it's over the last decade, is closer to $100 billion over the years. It's cost them $100 billion. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Because you can look at just the court documents from back when Activision Blizzard was in court and how much they were paying a month for, let's say, Grand Theft Auto was like Red Dead Redemption was like $5 million a month for 6 months. Okay, I don't know, $5 million. That's a lot of Grand Theft Autos. That's a lot of money that you can throw at Game Pass. So if they made $100 billion, well, let's just say they were making $5 billion, right? That's $50 billion. Okay, they're throwing random numbers in there. Let's just say they made $5 billion every year because of $450 million or $450 million every month. Right? That's $50 billion. They put $100 billion. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Just now you're realizing? But yet every year they said it was profitable? Something doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up.
That does for the last decade is closer to $100 billion over the years. That does not make it economically feasible. And these plans from SGF are tests under Sharma to see what the numbers are, so that when more games are pulled from day one, they have better accountability for the reason. The numbers from Alinea for PlayStation are closer to accurate than not, but these numbers for games are worse on our storefronts. Blade gameplay was slow and kind of janky. It's dead. Gears and other games is
Blade's not going to see the light of day.
a goodwill gesture to prime the market for a test. It's going to be a data point of how well AAA games perform exclusively on the Xbox console, which we also said. We said basically it's like a litmus test, right?
Of course, until it's not.
Exclusively on the Xbox console. Minus Sarah and Remember Phil is still there as a guide. All the leadership is
Remember, Phil is still there as a guide.
still the same. Halo is not going back to exclusivity, yet more data is needed before a final decision can be considered.
I don't think so.
And then, of course, that's fair enough. I'm just reading it. And PlayStation.
In other news, I think Waterbear posted in Discord that Halo is the most pre-ordered game on PlayStation.
Is not out to get Xbox. Why the PlayStation Store says Microsoft. Oh, that's something we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about how it said Microsoft. No,
what do you mean they're not out to
Store
get Xbox? PlayStation has two purposes: to make great games and make money, and to kill their competition and bury them so that they can rise to the top. Yeah,
that's not what he was referring to. You remember 3 weeks ago or whatever?
Yeah, we said that it doesn't say Xbox Studios on their
Yes,
store.
it doesn't say Xbox, it says Microsoft. So he wanted to clarify that. Sorry, it's not that PlayStation's not out to get Xbox. Sorry, let me finish the sentence. He says PlayStation's not out to get Xbox with the PlayStation Store saying Microsoft. When Microsoft legal and financial teams set up the accounts to sell games, and where that money goes, they filled out the forms to say Microsoft and it Xbox, so you can blame Microsoft for that, not PlayStation.
They're all pointing fingers at different people.
That's the way they had registered it with legal. So when it showed up on the PlayStation Store, he was just basically settling a bet you and I were having about that.
Okay.
And hold on, there was one more thing.
Is that it?
One more thing. Okay, Steam is... Oh, that's the last point. He says, Steam is no different than PlayStation as a third-party marketplace, and every time someone purchases an Xbox game on Steam, the data tells our leadership that the Xbox ecosystem is not good enough and games need to be multi-platform. So they said they were looking at that.
Oh, because they're not buying it on the Xbox store or the Microsoft store. They're buying it on Steam. Well, yeah, because if I have a PC, why am I going to use your Windows? Everything is nice. I have my whole library and stuff in Steam. I love that everyone hates Steam. Like in the industry, they hate Steam because Steam has to do nothing, and they succeed.
That as a metric of not reading the metric properly as to games being sold, and it was coming across as not selling enough. The last thing he says, one more thing. Bethesda is not Xbox Studios because of the purchase agreement from the previous owner and the deal.
Wait a minute, what was this?
Not Xbox Studios because of the purchase agreement from the previous owner and the deal having certain terms on its independence unless it failed to meet certain financial obligations.
Which it did.
So,
yeah.
Which it did what? It made the financials or didn't make the financials? Independence unless it failed to meet certain
financial
obligations.
Which it did.
Which it did what? Failed or succeed?
So,
yeah, I think the days of Bethesda.
And then he talked about Bungie layoffs.
Yeah, the days of
Bungie layoffs are coming.
Yeah, well, Bungie's got 800 employees. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of that sounds super speculative. Like, and so
here's the thing. I take all this with a grain of salt because a lot of people say a lot of things. Again, I don't say that any of this is factual. Okay, we talk about it in a way where it's speculations until it's not. Math doesn't math up here. $100 billion in a decade of Game Pass they've thrown in, and they've only made 50 back. That doesn't make any sense. When the financials came out and they showed them and leaked and stuff like that, they said it was profitable. So how does that work? How does that work? Sarge says, we went through this already, bro. $400 million a month grows clearly around 100 to 120 million a month. 1 to 1.2 billion a year. The store loses 100 billion for 80 games is 1.25 billion copies of a game. Math is not math. Yeah. Is what Mr. Z says. The store losing $100 billion for 80 games. It's more than 80 games, but still, the math doesn't math. Leo says Phil's just living the best life. He's on the beach somewhere. Ring, 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 ring. Hello. Oh, Asha. How's it going? Oh, yeah. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah. You had a good show. Yeah, had a great show. Yeah. Oh, how many people you have to let go? Oh, that sucks. Yeah, just stare at the camera and just smirk. It'll be fine. All right, I gotta go. Got another margarita coming. He doesn't give two shits. Leo says the store downloaded throttling needs to be fixed. Mo says, which it did fail. So Bethesda's contract where they could have went independent, it failed. Okay. So now that means they can't break free. Is that what we're saying? Didn't make it. Okay. That's bullshit. Bro, we went through this. Look, I know we math, right? But we don't have full evidence. So we can't say without a question of a doubt it's true. With $80 games, yeah, but games weren't $80 10 years ago. It's like Sony's Spider-Man contract. Yeah, but Spider-Man was successful. Was Bethesda successful? And now, was Bethesda successful or not successful? Because that's why they were throwing out Oblivion and throwing out other ones to kind of make up for the failure of Starfield. They might be including hardware. Yeah, but if you're talking... The line he says here, hold on. The line he says sounds, here. Let me see if I can find it.
The data tells our leadership they had registered. You can blame that money when Microsoft not at the get that.
Say Xbox. Yeah,
that's too soft. Considered.
I don't think
exclusively on the Xbox. Find the market for it. It's dead. Gears and other games is a good.
Phil wasting away in Margaritaville. Sarah, sitting next to him. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know.
Thank you very much for the $5. Yeah, he's just sitting. He's just sitting away. He's like, oh man, I should have retired years ago. He should have retired years ago. Thank you very much for the $5. Mo says, yo, this is crazy business going on right now. I want to wait for the official, but it sounds like a bloodbath. All I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense because they're talking about, right? They're talking about
goodwill gesture to prime the market for game AAA games perform
$5 billion a year. Where is it?
Considered.
I don't think so.
And then, of course,
was it farther back?
Our workplace accountability force are so that when more games are pulled from day one, they have better. But the amount of money Game Pass currently is making $5 billion in revenue a year, but the amount of money that it has cost the Xbox store.
It's currently making $5 billion a year. For how many years? Right? How many years? I just don't understand the math is not mathing. You can't say a number without showing you. Again, this is why I don't take it seriously until it actually officially comes out. You can't say that they're making $5 billion a year off Game Pass, okay? And then at the other hand say, well, they've spent $100 billion. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, especially when you saw the price point of what they wanted to spend on $250 million. What was it? $250 million on Suicide Squad on that paper, and then it was $15 million for the contract for GTA for 6 months. Right? It doesn't, and those are two games. Everything else on Game Pass is older games, right? Older games, independent games, indie games, a lot of games, right? They're not spending $15 million to put some of those games on the thing. Right? They won't show the numbers, so we all have to speculate. But $5 billion annually, and saying they spent $100 billion in that time, is fucking mind-boggling. Luke says, "Yeah, the math ain't mathin'." El Dente says, "I made $5 billion when they raised the price to 30 for 5 hours. Then it was all losses." Yeah, but the number for $5 billion is only at 20 million people at $20. El Dente, that's the number I put. I put $5 billion and I said 20. It's around 20 million people that have at $20. It wasn't even at the $30 or 20. I just put the average of $20, right? There was a stat we did a while ago. I want to say about 2 years ago. They were saying there was more Ultimate members, and this is when it was at $20, than there was at the lower standard. It was like I think it was like 10,000. Is that 10,000 at the lower end, and it was like 15,000 at the higher end type of thing, right? And this is how we came up with the number, right? When me and Sarge came up with the number, we're like, oh yeah, it makes about 450 million a month for Game Pass, right? And now it seems like that's correct if they're making $5 billion a year. $250 million for Suicide Squad. Were they crazy? Yes, but they didn't do it because it wasn't on Game Pass, right? So they didn't spend that. That's what the court documents said. Does it make sense when Satya says we've been subsidizing the entertainment? Entertainment equals Xbox division. Their books showed profit. When they came out and said that this was profitable, they said Game Pass was profitable. So were they lying all these years? Jesse Max says the only way for Bethesda even remotely to remake it though to Elder Scrolls 6 to break them out. I want to stop for a second. If this is true and Game Pass has spent $100 billion over the last 10 years and said they were profitable, there could be a lawsuit at Microsoft because they were fudging the numbers, okay, to make it look like they're profitable, which makes the shareholders think they're profitable, which there could be a huge lawsuit if that's the case. Right? You can't lie if the investors are saying, "Oh, is it profitable?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, it's profitable." Yeah, this is not a trust me bro moment. If that's true, $100 billion over the last 10 years, and they only made roughly, if they say $5 billion a year, we don't know if it was making that much money in the beginning or close, right? That means there's lawsuits to happen because there's no way you could fudge the numbers, fake it till you make it, to get to this point where you're like, oh yeah, Xbox has been floated by Microsoft this entire time, and nobody knew. Only Satya. I'm not an investor. I don't care personally. But when hearing shit like this, you're like, what are we talking about? There's bookkeepers and accountants and things. You have to show your books. Waterbear says their actions are not matching the words, saying it's profiting. And then the shit they are also going through, yeah, they are lying. 100%. If this is what I'm supposed to believe, what he's saying, lawsuits are incoming, right? If they're lying about their books and they haven't been profitable this entire time and they were just subsidizing stuff, then there's major issues happening with Microsoft, which then Satya Nadella has to be fired because that means he's been lying the entire time that this division is profitable. Right? Because he's the guy who's in charge of Microsoft. Eclipse says, yeah, they showed the records in court. You can't lie in the court of law. Well, maybe they were profitable for that year or whatever the numbers were for that year. But overall, Eldadi says, or he sells Xbox and that's how he ends up being profitable. If I was a shareholder, if I was on the board of directors, I'd be like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Water says that's incoming 30 next month. Even if they sell it, they have to know. First of all, who are they selling them to? Right? If they sell them and then become profitable, who are they selling them to? And the person that wants to buy the company has to know the books. They have to show the books. And if they show an unprofitable business for a decade, then who's buying them? That's $100 billion for Game Pass, $70 billion for Activision, $7 billion for ZeniMax. No shot Game Pass is bleeding money. I want Phil Spencer, please. For my Christmas wish this year, please write a book. Write a book and tell the insides, whenever that is. If it's 5 years down the ride, he probably signed a really juicy NDA because he can never speak on it. Okay? Like, holy Christ. I want to know. I honestly don't care what happens, but I want to know the inside. I want to know the juice of stuff of here, right? Because math ain't mathing. Math ain't mathing. You want to say $100 billion for the entire company? Cool. But what they just read said Game Pass is making $5 billion, but the $100 billion is for Game Pass, or is that for the entire company? Those are two different things. Why does Disney go ahead of the lies for years with no evidence / lawsuits against them? What lawsuit? What are you talking about for Disney? Sony likes buying unprofitable studios. The entire thing feels like the dog meme where they're shitting in the fire, saying everything is fine. Oh, that's the same one I was talking about with the guy with the pizza. You're talking about the guy, the dog? Yeah. Yeah. It's like, everything's fine. It's like, is it? It's fucking crazy. Here. I saw Jez Gordon. He wrote an article a couple months ago, right? And he said, go back and read this. Go back and read this. This is an article back from February when Asha Sharma took over and Matt Booty. Okay? This is exclusive. Talking to the new Xbox CEO Asha Sharma and CCO Matt Booty, this team has brought it back before, and I'm here to help us do it again. As former Xbox CEO Phil Spencer prepares to exit, we caught up with the incoming CEO Asha Sharma and proudly promoted CCO Matt Booty to learn more about the future holds in Microsoft gaming operations. Okay, Asha Sharma is taking over for Phil Spencer, who set the full retire for business. Let's skip this shit. I don't need to read that part. In her opening letter, Asha Sharma said that she wanted to bring about a return to Xbox. I asked exactly what that means. Who would have thought she meant back to when Xbox was just Xbox, when they only had like 2 studios? Who knew? Okay. Sharma volunteered to emphasize that the Xbox core, specifically the console platform, which has also seen the new fiscals for a year consistent decline. It says, quote, for me, the spirit of return to Xbox is a return of sprinting that the team was founded on. See? You got to get rid of everybody, right? The spirit of surprise. It's a surprise. You're firing everybody. In the spirit of building something nobody else was willing to try. I've tried Renegade, Rebellion, and Fun, and used this is what I was thinking about when I wrote that. Sharma acknowledged that the investment of Xbox fans and customers have also poured into the ecosystem over the years and seemed genuinely keen to emphasize her commitment to the console hardware. Okay. It says, quote, I think that our core Xbox fans and players have invested up to 25 years in themselves, and 10 of them have been unprofitable, in the universe and on the console. I want to make sure that everybody knows by committing to the Xbox, starting with the console, we're going to keep meeting players where they are. The world continues to evolve and change. We're going to make sure that Xbox is in a great place for developers and players, and we want to invest in reducing the artificial divide between different types of devices and what we use with us. I think that's going to mean a lot more in an investment in breaking down the barriers and helping developers build once they show up across the different hardware experiences for me. And I believe Xbox starts its fans and will grow from there. This is what I wanted to signal with the return to Xbox. Now think about what she said there, and here we are today. Here we are today. Shit sandwich, right? She said all this stuff before she knew what they actually were getting into. She's like, yeah, I bought this car online. It looks great. The pictures look great and everything looks great. She showed up. It's fucking dilapidated, missing fucking tires. The engine's gone. She's like, I paid how much for this? There's been a ton of speculation about what kind of moves Asha might make. Xbox notoriously ditched any form of exclusivity on its games, shifting units to PlayStation, paying little mind to the criticism that reduced to it needed actually buy an Xbox. Sharma told me nothing is off the table when it comes to revising Xbox's strategy, but finalizing the strategy will take time. The data parsing is also the Xbox recent strategy decision. Sharma said, the plan's the plan until it's not the plan, and hence the shirt was born, and the song. Okay. It says, right now, I need to learn candidly about why these decisions we're optimizing for and what the data says about the Xbox strategy today. The honest answer is I'm looking for a lifetime of value, but not just what happened in the previous moment, and a short-term effectiveness and things like that. The plan's the plan until it's not the plan. Sharma described her and Matt Booty to currently going into a whirlwind learning the tour of Xbox gaming teams in the studio. Why is Matt Booty going on a whirlwind tour? He's already with the company, by the way. Minecraft, Bethesda, Activision, and more. Matt Booty cautioned that the players shouldn't expect drastic changes. Matt Booty is caused that the players shouldn't expect drastic changes in the near term, while emphasizing that the team plans to re-examine the question of everything. Okay. Matt Booty chimed into protecting the Xbox ecosystem is rejected speculations of Microsoft gunning for its gaming division to devolve into a publisher. This is Matt Booty now. Our studio systems is fully built around being first party. We're not built to just be a publisher, Matt Booty explained. It's the core of our partnership and the Microsoft platform being involved in early hardware decisions. All the work we've done to get games like Gears of War running great on new devices like the Xbox Ally and so on is embedded with the instruction, and we're not backing away from that. We're committed to being the first-party games publisher in the partnership with our first-party platform teams. Yeah, you're going to fire 3 of them or abandon them completely. One of the biggest issues facing the gaming industry all up right now is finding new users. Xbox and other big platform holders are effectively just trading the same few hundred million, which I've said for years. User back and forth with the actual attention being devised of the apps like TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, and other algorithm non-gaming products. The asked Asha Sharma is she planned to explore the new paradigm of Xbox at the end, but she also once again citing an intent to double down on Xbox's core. So reading this article, listening to them, what they've said and what's happening right now, boy, day 1 and day 101, huh? Completely different. Roadkill says, surprise, you're fired. That's the surprise, yeah. Matt Booty says some don't shit in this one. Matt Booty says some don't shit in this one. Oh, does he say more in this one? Wait, does it say? The thing about the product is also taking a... about the platform. That's Asha saying stuff. Does Matt chime in again? Oh, Matt does chime back in. Yeah, Matt Booty put on bed rumors that Microsoft is planning to enforce some kind of AI directive Xbox from the top, knowing developers are free to use the tools they want. He says, just as a group, game developers are always eager to adapt the new technology. When Photoshop showed up, it took about 1 month for it to appear in every game on studio on the planet because it was useful. Matt noted the Xbox goal is for AI to be additive and supportive rather than disruptive in teams. And he says, what I hear throughout the studios is that people are artists and coders and writers, and we're also doing creative work and experience in times of technology. It happens and need for more specialists, new specialists, and raise the bar. Okay, we've got no pressure from Microsoft. There's no directive on AI coming down. Our teams are free to use any technology that might be beneficial, whether or not helping to write code and check off the bugs and things in more production pipeline. And at the end of the day, as Asha said, we're committed for the art, many people, technology, and only support of that. Well, maybe you're not doing AI, but you're going to get rid of a shit ton of studios and artists. How are you going to become more profitable? How you can become more profitable? Matt said the Xbox thinks of itself as a federation of studios supporting each other for both creativity and technology. He says, I think we've got one of the best portfolios out there, even in the entertainment industry, more broadly in terms of the range. We're dedicated to it, and here's why. I believe in almost everything is big starts as something small. Thanks for letting us know how things grow, Matt. That's how things work. You plant a seed and it becomes a fucking tree. Yeah. But then you come over and knock down the tree. The creative environment lets us take bets and creative risks as a part of Xbox's culture and committed to their studio system. We built for that. The best thing about my job is sitting in the meetings when they're just early ideas. And you can imagine what they're like sitting in a room and someone says, we're going to make a game about a walking lighthouse. And Matt said, referencing Double Fine's Keeper, we're going to fire you after that. And then go from that review. And then the next 3 years, Call of Duty, and we're going to reprimand you for that. And it's great to hear that Asha states a commitment as well. Is that crazy? I'm so glad that... I know I ad-libbed in there. But it's a hell of a time from when they... Day 1 to day 101, huh? Crazy. Fucking amazing. Leo says, Matt Booty needs to stop reassuring people. Sound bites he provides later on. Fucking crazy. Games are paid to be on Game Pass. Different deals with different games. Yeah. Elon should not touch Xbox. He should wait till the industry implodes on itself. This is why Starfield's tools of AI was made. El Dente says, they aren't being mandated to use AI, but they're probably heavily encouraged with brass knuckles. They're like, hey, you guys going to use AI? We got the new AI tools. And they're like, no, we weren't thinking about using AIs. So you going to use those AI tools? Yeah, we were thinking about using those AI tools. That's good. All right, we'll be back. It's not like we're going to fire you or anything. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Be like... Oh, man. According to them, bro, gaming hasn't been profitable in 15 years. From a console standpoint, yeah. For the last 2, I would say yes on the console standpoint. This is how they stayed there so long. And he's that one guy. Why is he still here, guy? Yeah. He's the red stapler guy at Microsoft. Booty, are you still getting a paycheck? Sure am. Yeah, I'm the guy who does things. Oh, okay. All right, we'll see you next time. Roadkill says, I wonder if after Sharma is watching all these YouTube videos and she's like, what the hell did I get into? Well, she should have known that when Xbox lied to us and said that she was a gamer. She probably saw it right then and there and went, what did I get myself into? Mr. G says, El Dente, I'll tell you, there is no mandate, but with so many lemmings working there to start to feel bad for not using it and congratulating all the people using it for stuff. Yeah. Yep. I have a friend that also works for Microsoft, right? He has nothing to do with Xbox or anything. He works for Microsoft. Okay. And he told me, he goes, because I said, is it true that they're not incorporating AI? He goes, no. He goes, that's not true. He goes, they're 1,000% going towards AI. He's like, they're tripling down. Yeah. He's like, AI's coming. I'll go from Xbox to Space Xbox. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Mars Box, Xbox. Oh, wait, it would just be the Xbox, formerly known as Xbox. Jack Garner says not using AI tools locks doors. Now you can't leave. Yeah. It's the scene from hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, let me go to. I went to the wrong thing. Hold on. This is no. This is them coming in to tell them to use AI. Those are the devs. That's the devs. This is us looking on. Here comes Microsoft.
Wherever you are.
Here comes Microsoft. I don't want to use AI. We don't want to use AI. Oh my God. Here's Microsoft. This is Satya Nadella knocking on the door. Oh my God. We're gonna get hit for this big time. Okay, are you there? Anybody there? Here he comes. Chad, help me. Chad, I can't get out. I can't get out. Oh my God. Oh my God. What's that? You don't want to use AI?
Let me come in.
Here I come. No. Oh, stay back. I don't want to use AI. I don't want to use it. We're coming in. We're coming in.
Then I'll huff. And I'll puff.
Here it comes.
And I'll
AI's
blow
coming
your
in.
house.
Please, no, we don't want to use AI. You're going to use AI, or you're going to get fired. Please, anything but the AI. Oh God, no. That's the AI tool coming in. Here it is. He's almost through. Matt Booty. Oh, beautiful. We've now opened the door.
Here's Johnny.
There it is. And that's the last end scene. End scene. We will be hit with a copyright strike for that, just to let you know, and I will have to delete that from the actual video. So if you're here live, you got to see that. This would be a funny video if you put the name AI over Jack's face. Someone get on that? I don't have time for that shit. Here's Satya. No, please, don't do it. Yeah, here's Copilot. That's the scene. That's what's happening at Microsoft right now. That live cameras. That you could do so much. Like, this could be Asha Sharma, and then Jack Nicholson is Satya Nadella telling her she's got to do this, and she's like, "No, please, no! I just wanted to be the CEO of Xbox." Good stuff. It's good stuff. See, that's why you should be here live when we do stuff like this, because that 100% will not be able to be on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's see here. We got one more? We got one more. Moon Game CEO says Xbox leadership was too focused on the past. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Waterbear says, 30, do you really think she knew the shitstorm was about to walk into? No. I think Phil Spencer was like, nah, hey, I'm retiring. You can have the job. Sarge says, remember, every company trying to go AI is currently losing money, except for NVIDIA. Jesse says, 30. Matt Booty said, the power of AI is in the palm of my hand. All right, so Moon Game Studio CEO Thomas Mahler has stated that Xbox leadership was too focused on the past, responding on social media to several reported closures of Xbox game studios. Ninja Theory, a studio behind Hellblade, is being closed just days after revealing the new title. That's gotta suck, right? Like in any way, shape, or form, it's like, hey guys, we have a brand new game coming from the Ninja Theory. Look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? Looks fantastic. Can't you guys get to wait it? Day one, play anywhere on Game Pass. 5 days later, we're closing the studio down, and we don't even know if that game's coming out. Like, what happened? What happened from here to here? Who made the call to say, yeah, let's show their brand new game that they've been working on for the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? Okay? And let's show it. Let's show it. Even though internally, Xbox had to know that 2 weeks from now they were going to make this announcement, right? There's no way. I can't believe it, chat. There can't be a timeline that I live in that the corporation didn't know this was going to happen before it was happening. They just like woke up today and was like, we got to cut people. Let's roll some dice. Oh, Ninja Theory, they're gone. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? They had to know, somebody in the company had to know that Ninja Theory was going to get fired before they showed the game. Were they waiting for like an explosion to happen? They're like, let's see when we show this what the room feels like. Be like, oh my God, we're making Senua. They're like, oh, no one clapped. That's it. They're fired. Like, what are we talking about? It makes no sense. Okay, nobody knows anything that's going on. They don't know if they're profitable. They don't know if they're making money. They don't know if they're closing studios. Everyone doesn't say anybody. Left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Everyone's just sitting quietly in the room. Everyone's afraid to say anything. They don't know it. Nobody knows anything. They don't know the money. They don't know the companies. They don't know the games. They don't know nothing. The closure comes amidst a sweeping change from Xbox CEO Asha Sharma, but Mahler believes that it's all turmoil would also ultimately be positive for the company. Before going any further, download the... I don't give a shit about that. Okay. It says, Mahler says Xbox leadership is too focused on the past. In a length post on X, Mahler explains how the heartbreaking changes could be good for games and gamers, as Xbox has struggled for a long time to identify, empower, and protect the key creative people in the team who could also have kept the brand at the top. He claims that during the development of Ori and the Blind Forest and its sequel, Will of the Wisp, it was clear that the main focus was still Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. Okay, Mahler had hopped on that Microsoft, or hoped that Microsoft would turn Ori into a Mickey Mouse or Mario-esque mascot, claiming that the email Phil Spencer plenty of times that Xbox should have their eyes on delivering magical experiences for kids and families as well, like Disney and Nintendo always have. Yeah, that was Phil Spencer, right? Emailed Phil Spencer, right? However, he says the powers to be were probably too focused on the past for that to happen. Xbox still has big year ahead, and releases of a Halo campaign Evolve, Gears of War E-Day, Horizon, fresh off the back of Forza Horizon 6, and the further changes are expected in months ahead. Right? So, are they focused too far in the past? I don't know. I don't think they're focused on anything. Because there's no way in fucking hell that you can have a company for 10 years and not know that you're not profitable. And there's also no way in hell that you could make a person go on stage, show their new game, and not know they were going to get fired the following week. Just saying. Just saying. They had to know beforehand. That begs the question, why the hell did they show anything? That's my point, Eric, right? They had to know. They had to know, right? Somebody at the company had to know. And they chose not to say anything for whatever reason. But the question then begs, why put him on stage? It could have been real simple. They could have been like, hey, we're going to show Senua at game. They're like, no, you're not. Be like, why? I'm sorry to tell you. We're not going to make your game. Sorry, we're closing out. Like, what the, right? All this PR stuff and stuff like that, man. Like, you would rather have him go out in front of people, say, here we are, and then say, yeah, we're not making that. The rumor of some leaders at Ninja Theory was expecting the news, and before Summer Game Fest, they were in talks with other publishers. Why show the game? If that's true, Krebsy, right? If it was the rumor that some leaders at Ninja Theory were expecting the news, and before Summer Game Fest, they were in talks, why show the game? They could have just not shown the game, then they wouldn't be in the news. Microsoft, haha, we want to shame you fully for Hellblade 2. This reminds me of Jim Ryan having a pizza party at London studio just before it closed down. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, like, what was that? That's even worse. Maybe not. At least he bought him. At least he bought him something. Yeah, that's better. Chopper Eric says they didn't even show Blade, and that studio of the game are in the same boat. Yeah, that Blade's not going to happen. Blade's not happening. Krebsy says Microsoft bought Ninja Theory for Mocap Studio for one game. And it wasn't even a big game. It was like a what? Wasn't it like a 6 to 8 hour campaign? Waterbear says, I bet the upper brass over at Sony is like, yeah, you know, that Bungie and Concord situation don't seem so bad after. No. Concord, don't let it. Concord, one of the worst fucking things that ever happened in the gaming industry. That is a shit stain on. It's not just in their. Sony didn't just shit themselves. Waterbear. Let me make this clear. They didn't just shit themselves. They shit so hard that it stained their pants, and no one told them. And they're still walking around with that shit stain of Concord on their pants. Okay? That's how bad Concord is. Don't you forget, they shut down a complete studio after they launched a game 13 days after it came out. That is still the record holder. Until that gets beat, that shit stain stays there. Just like the movie. The only Blade that's going to be able to are the Snipes movies. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Roadkill says, what are we talking about? They didn't put the Halo, had no new games. Really, I mean, Fallout should have been the new game. They didn't focus on that on the past. I think what the guy's saying is that they need to build up characters. Like, for instance, PlayStation took Astrobot, which was a demo type of game, right? But then they made it into a standalone game, which is now a very popular game, even though it only sold like less than 4 million, 3.5 million copies. No shade on that. I'm just bringing up stats here. Okay. But Astrobot is that kid avatar, right? Where it's like Mickey Mouse, Mario for Sony. What this guy is saying from the article that we read, Mueller is saying that they should have taken, Ori and made him that type of character where when you think of Ori, it's only on Xbox, and they would have invested more into that, which he sent a email to Phil Spencer, and Phil Spencer probably read it and was like, that's a good idea. And Satya was like, no, we need to spend $100 billion on Activision Blizzard. Warbear says, if that was a shit stain, this for Xbox is probably a food poisoning, or they're saying it's true. It's a remark, but to say that, I mean, think about this. They spent $250 million on the studio. They spent an additional $250 million finishing the game. They spent like $400 million, whatever it was, and it closed 13 days after it launched. That is amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, no Tide Pods cleaning that one. That is a shit stain. The only way that gets cleaned, Chopper Eric, is if someone has a worse scenario than them. which never say never. Xbox is holding tight. They're like, we can do it. We can do it. We can make something shittier and have a bigger shit stain on our pants. Sarge says, talking mergers and acquisitions, haven't heard one interview with the people responsible. Krabsy says, at least Firewalk didn't close 8 days after Concord announcement. Sarge says, not one article, not one interview, not one word about them. Millions, less than billions, though. This billions we're talking about. Sure, but at least, again, Xbox is, well, they're firing Ninja Theory. But at least Ninja Theory got some games out, okay? They're firing them, but the other studios get released into the wild again, where they can fend for themselves and get bought out by somebody else. It'd be funny to me if Sony picked up the studios that Xbox drops and then does nothing with them either. Because all these companies are making great decisions, right? Look at what Microsoft's doing and then look what Sony's doing with Bungie. They're making some great decisions across the industry. They're all doing wonderful. Let's buy a company for $3.2 billion, $3.6 billion, and then not do something with the IP that we bought. Brilliant. Let's buy all these studios and then do nothing with them. Not even let them release games. The industry is in a great place right now in the AAA publisher space. Rokel says Microsoft is a complete failure when it comes to Xbox. Hopefully they can turn shit around or sell to somebody that will. Sure. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see if the studios get free and not get closed down. Microsoft cuts from Xbox. That's a gigantic shit stain. Sure. Has it happened yet? That's the difference, Water. The difference is that hasn't happened yet. So the shit stain of Concord, 13 days, is the bigger shit stain at the moment. There are rumors that they are looking at Ninja Theory. Fantastic. Wouldn't that be funny? Senua becomes exclusive on PlayStation. Oh my God, that would be so hilarious. I think Microsoft is selling Xbox as a bigger shit stain. Yeah, but you guys are missing the point. You guys are missing the point. One is hypothetical. If they sell it, if it happens, it happens. As of right now, the shit stain belongs to Sony closing a studio in 13 days after they spent $400 million. That's a shit stain. If this goes through, what you're saying down here, then that would be a bigger shit stain. I mean, Bungie, we still have not the official news of what's going on to happen. Oh, they're going to lose their job in July. That's the unofficial official news. I'll keep saying it. Any studio under Xbox that's not closed to 30% or doesn't have a large IP is on the chopping block. For sure. For sure. But I don't think they get to keep the IP, do they? It all depends. When Bungie opted out to be removed from Microsoft, they kept the IP, right? So if Double Fine leaves, maybe Microsoft keeps their IPs and they move on with something else. Who knows? Maybe there was a contract where if they gave them a couple of other games, then they could get their own. Who knows? We'll find out. The truth always comes out later. So if certain companies break free from Microsoft and they have their IP owned still, that means they either paid for themselves or they made certain games and like traded those games in for their bigger IP. Like maybe Psychonauts is owned by Microsoft. Maybe it's still owned by Double Fine. I don't know. Ninja Theory, maybe they lose because they're getting closed down, so they own that. Who knows? We'll find out when they write up the articles. Waterbear says, when it becomes exclusive to PlayStation, that's when Senua Games will become the greatest game ever, according to ponies. Right? Because they're like, this is bullshit. That game would fit right home. It'd be right in there. Kramer says that mocap studio being profitable sure saved Ninja Theory from being closed. Did they also keep this is a big one, the sound design that they did for that game? I wonder if Microsoft keeps that sound design stuff. Jesse Max says the biggest issue with the money Sony and Xbox they spent on IPs and then closing down. It makes no sense about that, Jesse, right? It makes no sense that they grab these IPs. Remember, Sony is also on record saying they don't have IPs. They needed more IPs, even though they're sitting on a bunch of IPs they haven't done anything with, right? So they bought new IPs, and then they decided to go with Marathon instead of Destiny, right? It's like Microsoft does the same thing. They like spend money on these things, and then they're like, yeah, go ahead, make a game. And they're like, nope, just kidding. We're not going to show that. Go make Blade. Nope, just kidding. We're not going to see Blade. Go make a third game of Hellblade. Nope, we're not going to see that. It'd be like, what the fuck are these companies doing? It's so crazy. See, if you're an Xbot or a Sony pony, all you see, like, you're rooting for your side. But if you're a gamer, you're like, the fucking industry is in a massive problem, right? And they're like, well, it's good for Sony, it's good for Xbox. What the fuck are you guys talking about? The industry is hanging by a fucking thread right now in AAA. Saint says, my shit stain brings all the warriors to the yard. Damn right, better than y'all. I could teach you, but I have to charge. I like how you did the milkshake thing. Waterbear says, a month from now, it's going to be even crazier. It's never boring. It's never boring here. We always have something to talk about. Well, no, Ninja Theory is closing. If you were here earlier, Roadkill, the video that we watched, they said from an email, it's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but they said that Ninja Theory was trying to negotiate their deal or whatever to get bought out. It failed, so Ninja Theory is closing down. Like, they're done. All right. As far as Double Fine and whatever else, okay. Now, obviously, it's not official yet, but for Ninja Theory until it is maybe a day or so, a week from now. Double Fine and other ones are in negotiation right now to break free of their contract or of the studio. El Dente says it feels like the CEO are just doing everything based on AI responses. It does seem like that, right? They're like, how do I run a business company? Which company should I fire? Well, the AI says I should get rid of this one. Look at what's happening right now, Water. Right? I mean that AAA gaming is is hanging by a thread. The East. All right, Eastern developers are making fucking bangers, man. Right? The West doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. AAA companies and publishers are destroying themselves. Meanwhile, smaller studios, AA games are coming up and rising up. Indie games are coming up, which is fine, by the way. Right? These companies don't know what the fuck they're doing with their games they have. Exactly, Jason. Yeah, the West is. The East are sitting back laughing. They don't even have to do anything. They're making bangers, but they don't have to do anything. What defines a AAA game? It's changed over the years, Saint, but really it was price, right? The budgeting. But really what it is because, for instance, Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios, they have hundreds of people, but they're independent, right? They're independent as a studio, right? They don't have a boss above them. They get to choose what they want to do. They're an independent studio, but they're making a AAA game, right? So a AAA game is based on the amount of money and the amount of people working on it. Three others are Double Fine, Compulsion, and Arcane Lion. Arcane Lion's the one that's making Blade, right? Yeah. Overspending. Yeah, well, that's the ones overspending. AAA games are the ones overspending. It's like blockbuster movies. Like, look at the movies that are making money at the box office right now. Obsession and Backroom. I think combined total, their whole budget was like $11 million between the two films. Okay, and the AAA movie industry that like Supergirl and Masters of the Universe, they're spending 175, 250 million, $300 million to make a movie, and they're not going to make it. Those are blockbuster type of films that should make their money back, and they're not. They're losing money, right? Same thing was happening with the video game space. These studios that are making AAA games, big studios, right? They're spending 300, 350, 400 million dollars on these things, right? And it's like you can't fundamentally make your money back unless you're a super brand, a GTA, right? GTA will make its, let's say GTA in a timeline doesn't make its money back on day one. It will make its money back in month 6 or month 10 because of online and stuff like that they're doing. Saint says it's almost like they're hiring right out of grad school. Maybe those students use AI to get the good grades, faking from the. It's where they live, right? It's studios in California, studios in Seattle, it's studios in very expensive places to make a video game, right? If they take this same studio, move them over to Idaho, okay, and instead of making $220,000 a year, they can charge $50,000 or $100,000, whatever it is, right? That would dramatically lower the cost of the actual game. If they also didn't have 1,000 people working on a video game, and they just made smaller video games in scope, right? Then they wouldn't have this problem either. Ron says, why not put Blade DLC in Redfall? You know, why not just make Blade just make Blade a skin. Yeah, just a skin in Redfall. Well, it's true, Krebsy. They already made the money back for the stock and stuff like that. Oh, we watched this. Well, we watched their interview with Strauss Zelnick. I saw this earlier. Okay, I thought this was funny because we watched the interview with Strauss Zelnick. We broke it down on here. We saw the moment that he stared at the camera and said November 19th it's coming out, right? We saw this. I spoke about it. I was like, oh, he means business. Take-Two CEO reveals the secret behind getting rich, okay? But he also gives the line of when Grand Theft Auto is coming out.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, how did you get rich?
What makes you think I'm rich?
You look like money, man. I had to be billionaires all over the world.
Everyone else on the street.
Hold on. Where's the...
Man, I had to be billionaires all over the world.
Everyone else on the street. I was wearing a blue suit.
Be billionaires.
First of all,
sir, how did you get
this
rich?
is 100% set up.
You look like money, man. I had to be billionaires all over the world.
Everyone else on the street. I was wearing a blue suit.
How did you get rich?
I'm in the video game business.
Video games.
Have you played Grand Theft Auto?
GTA?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you like it?
I love GTA.
It's good.
Is that your company?
That's one of our games. Yes. It's our biggest game.
Are you serious? How many copies?
Can I just say I hate TikTok? I hate TikTok with a passion. I can't stand the editing style.
You sold
230 million.
I go all over the world interviewing billionaires to help the younger generation. Can I get a minute with you for the channel?
Sure.
When is GTA 6 coming out, man? The people
November 19th.
November 19th?
Yeah.
Why did it take so long?
The team at Rockstar really does seek to do something that's never been done before. That's really hard and it takes a long time.
What was the most amount of money you made in a single year?
Revenue last year was about 6.7 billion. This year it's expected to be a little over 8 billion.
Strauss Zelnick should run fucking Xbox. He knows how to run a business.
You're the video game mogul.
And I've been at it for 19 years and I'm still at it.
Did you go to college?
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
Harvard for law school and business school.
But I'm going to challenge you. I want you to give me one lesson about business right here that is not taught in a Harvard business school.
Never compromise your integrity. It's the only thing you have.
So you have to keep your word in business is what you're saying.
Unquestionably. I have flaws. There was a time I acted in a way that wasn't consistent with my views about integrity and business. It hurt me really badly and I learned a powerful lesson. Never do that.
When you approach business, do you have a very long-term view?
I think everyone's looking for an overnight success. My experience is the only overnight successes are someone else's. Everything worth doing is hard and takes a long time.
How old are you today?
How old am I?
Yeah.
68.
If me and you died tomorrow,
He's 68? He looks good for 68.
and you had one more message to leave with the younger generation, motivation, what would that be?
Think about what you truly want in life, truly want, not what someone wants for you, and then go for it.
So do you think people should chase their passion, or is that often not great advice?
I think it's terrible advice half the time. People should chase the intersection of what they're good at and what they like to do, with emphasis on what you're good at. Do that thing, the world will probably open up to you.
You have amazing advice, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I like to connect with all the millionaires and billionaires that I interview. Could I get your contact?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry. Did he just get his contact information? Right. I like Strauss Zelnick after the 2 interviews I've seen of him. Well, I don't know if this is really. I mean, this is a real quick interview. Yeah, but November 19th. We already saw this like a month and a half ago when he talked about November 19th. They think they're like breaking a story here. Strauss, whoever you spelled his name, should run all the game companies. Waterbear says, yep, say what you mean what you say. Mr. Z says, say what you want about Strauss, but the idiots at PlayStation and Xbox did not go through what he has. They're all waiting for Strauss. Strauss is sitting back going, oh, these guys want a game on their console. Oh, man. Chopper Eric says, make a game, sell a game if it takes a bit longer than you like. Well, that's only occurs if your budget doesn't explode past your actual profitability. You can't spend $400 million if you're selling 2 million copies. Can't do it. Strauss said November 19th. That means put your goddamn PTO in for November 19th, 19th to the 25th. He said it twice. He looked the camera directly in the eye in the other interview. It was like, it's coming out November 19th. Like that's what he was telling to the developers. That's right. All in. Shut the fuck up. Go to work. I'm getting it unless it's 60 frames per second. It's probably 60 frames per second. And how much money Rockstar would make if they did PC day and date? Yeah, Mo's here. Mo's here, user. Yeah, Mo's here. He's fine. He's doing fine. Has anyone checked? Yeah, is Mo okay? What happened to Mo? Oh, well, Xbox is firing a bunch of people. All right, let's see what's happening on Twitter. Sarge says, remember, bro, the game was ready last September. Ready? Remember? I mean, 18 months delayed. It's not going to happen again. Yeah, Mo's been here. We'll see what happens. Look, I'm not attached to anything, man. I'm not attached. We talk about stuff all the time, different things. We always read the articles, people's opinions, speculations. It's claimed, it's rumored, right? When it happens and actual official news comes out, that's when it's actual official. Let's see what else we got going on here. Anything? Sega wants you to know what you think about Sonic Racing Cross Worlds with the survey. Okay. Was that a kart racing game? Yeah, it's a kart racing game. EA Sports FC 26 leads June's new Xbox Game Pass lineup. Okay. Which is not profitable for the last 10 years, according to an email. Yes, Grand Theft Auto is only on the new consoles. All right. It doesn't look like there's anything else left or anything new that I can see. Anything else that happens, we'll put it in the Discord, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me on today's show, the Daily Grind. We're here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just cover the news, cover videos, give you my thoughts and opinions, get your thoughts and opinions as well. We appreciate you very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. I'll see you guys on the next one. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll probably finish up Retro Rewind Video Store Simulator. Finish that up, get to level 20. And then we'll be done with that unless they put an expansion in or something like that down the road. Other than that, we'll see you on the Daily Grind in the mornings. We'll see you at Shooting the Shit with Sarge on Wednesdays. Don't forget Fake Wizard News. Wednesday nights, I'm usually on there. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. And then we do the podcast, GXG. Don't forget about the merch store. We have the plan's the plan until the plan. It's not the plan. Shirts up there as well. Appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Talks, we listen. Empire moves, but what about the mission? 50 billion, yeah, they bought the vision. Yeah. Investors in the boardroom, suits pressed tight. Counting green, flipping scripts overnight. Guns and football, yeah, that's the call. But what about the stories that we love most of all? Bioware legends now, whispers in the hall. Studios bending to the profit, feeling small. Kushner at the table, PF in the mix. Even the Saudis are now in the mix. Players in the chat like, yo, what's the fix? Empire moves, money calls the shots, but the heart of the game is tied up in knots. Investors rule, but we still play. Holding hope while the cash takes a day. Empire moves, who's really in control? They count the billions, but who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? Every AAA title, every indie grind. Now waiting spreadsheets, creativity confined. Promises whispered, nothing will change. But corporate hands don't play the game. The fans remember nights we stayed up late, exploring worlds they might try to desecrate. Passion can't die, it's coded in the heart. But will it survive when profit tears it apart? Empire moves, money calls the shots, but the heart of the game is tied up in knots. Investors rule, but we still play. Holding hope while the cash takes a day. Empire moves, who's really in control? They count the billions, but who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? Who owns the soul? $50 billion, but what do we lose? Stories and worlds replaced by corporate cues. Gamers still grind, we don't bow, we resist. Creators to dream, still pushing the twist. Legacy over ledger, that's how we survive. The heart of the game keeps the stories alive. Empire moves, but we're still in the fight. Playing for the passion, not just the night. Empire moves, money calls the shots, but the heart of the game is tied up in knots. Investors rule, but we still play. Holding hope while the cash takes a day. Empire moves, but the soul still whole. Gamers and creators, they own the soul. Ooh, they own the soul. Gamers and creators, they own the soul. Empire moves, money calls the shots, but the heart of the game is tied. Empire moves, money calls the shots, but the heart of the game is tied up in knots. Empire moves.